Good morning, everyone. I'm Vince Lancy. Today's the Gold Fix Market Rundown. And the title is tentatively Gold is Caught in the Middle of a Trade War. This pertains to three things. The first two are obvious. NVDA got caught with its pants down and got slammed. That's a crash. And that took gold with it, although it's not obvious as to why that happened. The second thing is Donald Trump. It's now obvious to me that this was in retaliation for what happened yesterday, unleashed a barrage of threats and probably executions, executive orders, regarding tariffs on the heels of Bessent being approved as Treasury Secretary. And the third thing is what happened with gold, and actually to a slightly lesser extent, silver. So we'll try and weave these together, and also in context of what was said yesterday. Let's start with the homepage. All right, there's lovely Michael Saylor. Is MicroStrategy a Ponzi scheme? And the answer is, if it is one, it's a very effective one. We just sent this out. Founders is DeepSeek Doomsday for American OpenAI. And that post is for primarily equity holders who are trying to get to the bottom of, is the China product better? Is the China product cheaper? And is DeepSeek cheaper to get? Is it going to change the environment here? And the answer is yes, it will change the environment. But there are some, but it's not a miracle. Okay. Goldfix UBS updates clients on gold. This was sent out last night. This is an update. That's the PM post, but UBS updated their clients on gold. They had a 2025 report, Go for Gold, and they updated it. And it wasn't in reaction to yesterday's move. It was out on Friday, but it was interesting. It was a short note. There was nothing brand new in it, but it was interesting in the sense that they've done this before. They reiterate their price. They tell you about their reasons for it, and then the market goes up. Now, I'm not telling you the market's going to go up, but I am saying that a reiteration by UBS is almost like a price increase. Now, that didn't happen today, or yesterday, I should say, but I do believe that they see some things down the road that are very friendly. Remember, they're a conservative bank, and they do protect their clients. Okay. The markets. And I'll just the 10-year yield is up 3. The dollar is 107.97, up 55. The S&P 500 is 60.26, up 7 and change. The VIX is 17.87. Excuse me, unchanged. Gold is up almost $5 on the highs of the session, I think, at 27.45. Silver is 30.18, stubbornly above 30. I like that. Unchanged bid, up 2 cents. Copper is 4.22, up 30 basis points. Oil is 74.70, up 77. Natural gas is 3.52, down almost 8 cents. Bitcoin 102 and change, up 750, 775. Palladium 961, down less than $1. Platinum 941, down between $6 and $6.50. Gold, silver 90 to 91 now, getting comfortably above 90, it seems. Soy, corn, wheat 1045, 477, 550, up 2, up 2, up 4 3/4. The chart you're looking at there, to give you a perspective, that was yesterday. Silver, top right-hand corner, that's an hourly chart, dove starting at 7 a.m. Top left-hand corner, that's NVIDIA, dove starting whenever and never came back, starting overnight. Gold, dove starting 7 a.m. We were on the air as this was happening, but we said the state, we said, what did we say? What did I say? New highs are on the table. I would say this week, if it weren't for the Fed And then I turned to the screen later on and I said, okay, you want to buy it above here, but you want to be short until it gets above there. I believe the actual phrase was, I'm bullish, but you should be short below this price. It's not what I want it to be right on. I don't have anything on to that regard, but that's how you look at markets when you're unsure. All right, and then on the right is MSTR, which has become a little bit of a pet peeve for me, admittedly so. All right, let's get to the story. Gold caught in the middle. This starts with a conversation yesterday on chat with Chris Marcus. Gold had sold off, and then it sold off more. And I actually wasn't in front of a screen, and we were talking about it. Chris and I were talking about it as it was happening. And we were trying to figure out what the rationale for it was. And it actually was down more than silver. And I was aware of NVDA and DeepSeek and what have you. And I turned to him and I completely jokingly said, well, we can always go with manipulation. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, manipulation in the sense that we're retaliating. If they're going to knock down our stocks, we're going to knock down their gold. And it was completely a joke. And I had just been reminding myself of the plunge protection team, and I was doing some research on them recently. But anyway, not to bore you with the details. So a couple hours later, Bessent is around the same time. Bessent is accepted, signed in, whatever he is, as Secretary of Treasury, and all this news started coming out from Trump. And he was on the tariff high horse. So I want to go through these with you because when you take them all together, it is retaliation, not necessarily for gold, although it is for gold. But we're immediately retaliating for what we view as trade war behavior from China. So let's start with the statement said. All right, so Zero Hedge had a bunch of them. Trump will be placing tariffs on steel, aluminum, and copper. Okay, metals. I had some comments on that. It doesn't seem normal to do that. You don't tariff metals unless you already have them. So we're tariffing imports because we're not worried about them, right? So you could say, well, why are they not tariffing silver? Well, because we still need it. Trump and his new frenemies, that's a story that they wrote. Dollar rises as Bessent reportedly favors universal tariffs. That kind of blew me away because I know that Bessent is not anti-tariff. He's anti-putting it on the table up front. He's more like, let's keep it in our pocket and use carrots and threaten sticks, and then you use the stick. So for him to say that, if he literally said that, is a change in approach. You know, it's like he's coming out pretty aggressively. All right, and then Trump says, we'll put tariffs on people who mean us harm. Well, that's a pretty broad statement, but here's some specifics. Bloomberg. Donald Trump says he would soon impose tariffs on foreign pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, and metals, and he heralds news of DeepSeek's apparent progress in artificial intelligence as a positive. That's all you need to know. When they put things like that and they say, but I'm happy for you, that's basically saying we're going to get you back, but hey, we're happy for you. All right, so here's some more headlines. Yen falls 0.3% due to strong dollar. We will impose tariffs on individuals who intend to cause harm. Pledge renewed to not modify Medicare or Social Security. Great. Building a plant in the U.S. is the only way to escape tariffs. U.S. to impose tariffs on steel, aluminum, and copper. Next one, I don't have them all on the screen here. Trump, we will soon place tariffs on foreign computer chips. So now you're thinking about, if you're taking this at its face value, now you're thinking like, does that affect Taiwan? There's going to be carve-outs for everything, but these are blanket. This is a retaliation for what happened yesterday. Trump, if you want to stop placing the tariffs, you need to build a plant in the U.S. He says we will look at steel and other industries for tariffs. I mean, this is like, if you've lived through the 80s, it's like the 80s all over again in that respect. Protectionist, but we're protecting things that we don't really we don't really need from the outside. We will also place tariffs on producers of pharmaceuticals. We will place tariffs on computer chips in the near future. Trump to consider additional industries for tariffs. Trump suggests building plants in the U.S. So there you go. There might be one more. New Zealand dollar down to impose tariffs on farm. All right, so there's nothing new in what he said, but he said it again, and he said it after his retaliation on Colombia. So just for one second, Scott Bessent said tariffs before he was nominated, said universal tariffs, I'm all for that. But I don't think it would be something that I would want to do while I'm prosecuting the immigration repatriation stuff. I'd want to do it afterwards, or maybe as a reaction. But here we are, hours after he's accepted. I can't think of the word right now, but hours after he's in as Secretary of Treasury, and he's saying tariffs are right. So there's a meeting of the minds between Bessent and Trump. Anyway, so these things were, I'm telling you, these things were retaliation for what is being seen as trade war with NVIDIA being attacked. NVIDIA is our stock market right now. If you're attacking NVIDIA, whether you're right or wrong, we're going to defend that. And that's what the plunge protection team also did. So now we go back to my conversation with Chris at Arcadia. You know what? Why would gold be down more than silver on a day where stocks are getting pummeled? Well, the answer is I believe, right? You can't quote me on it, but I believe that I'm not saying that we're punishing the bricks. I'm saying that on a day that stocks are down, if gold is up, that does not look good. And so they made sure they kept a lid on it. That's it. That's a story, right? I mean, we don't know. The truth of the matter is, I'm talking to you as a trader, an investor. The truth of the matter is, I don't know what the next 6 days will bring. I do know that we are reacting. I think I wrote that down here. That's the NVIDIA crash. Oh, I'm a patriot, but all the stuff doesn't seem like it was done out of strength. Wouldn't the dollar be a lot higher otherwise? It went back up, but it wasn't higher. Stomping on markets that reflect poorly on the U.S., like gold, and buying a dip in NVIDIA is one thing. A ban on foreign chips will probably help NVIDIA as well. But nobody wins in these when equal economic powers go head on. It's only who survives best. Look, we're going to suffer if this continues. And in the end, gold's an international asset. See, we've been squashing international assets like gold for decades, and no one's been attacking our stocks because it's not international. It projects internationally, but it's protected domestically. Now China, with NVIDIA, with the DeepSeek, has intruded in our space using capitalism, so to speak, to do that. They're chip dumping like Japan did. All right, so let's go to the NVIDIA crash to give you some perspective. Most, if not everyone here has chip exposure. All right, I wrote today, was NVIDIA's third worst daily decline since 2014, i.e. since the start of the U.S. big tech slowdown takeover of the U.S. So let's put that move in historical context. By the way, this is almost all of this is from DataTrek, and they're very good at pulling up the present in context of the past. All right. So here's why NVIDIA swooned on its worst days in the past. And you can read those. All right. I'm not going to get into that right now, but you can see the past, right? And here's some data shots of the past. Now we're looking going forward. What happens when NVIDIA crashes? Well, history shows a mixed picture as to how NVIDIA might perform over the near term. That's the next 1 to 3 months. My comment, no analysis that is given to us here gives us comfort. It's very volatile and it's a crapshoot. That's it. What to watch for? If in terms of, aside from the price, you want to watch for statements by NVIDIA's clients over the next weeks. Earnings season is coming up. Microsoft and Meta both report on Wednesday. It'll probably get lost in the shuffle with the Fed, but it will come out the other end. That's very important. They're going to be asked questions about NVIDIA, and let's see what they say. All right. Comps. NVIDIA's valuation is average relative to its big tech peers when excluding Tesla's outlier. So forget about Tesla. NVIDIA is still, however, a full 8 points rich to the S&P, not leaving it much room for unexpected shocks, as yesterday's activity showed. NVIDIA's past worst daily declines were due to concerns about weakening fundamentals, much like yesterday's sudden concerns related to future demand. Why did NVIDIA crash and take everything with it, including gold? Well, we're going to tell you. Oh, not that one. Oh, we were scrolling. There we go. DeepSeek is the China product that's been unleashed or dumped in the US. Now, DeepSeek is there are claims coming out about DeepSeek that are making people panic. Maybe they just want something to panic about. They call gold people doomers. Chip people are all dooming right now. Oh no, it's the end of America, that type of shit. All right, anyway, DeepSeek is not innovative any more than ChatGPT is. That's number one. It's bullshit to think it's any better. And that's not me being a patriot. That's me being an investor. It may not be less expensive to make. Meaning, they're probably spending similar money to make it as we are. Is that my opinion? No, that's empirical evidence from Bernstein, a SocGen analytics boutique firm that is quite compelling. It's also subsidized by the government. The government is directly paying for it. But it is going to bludgeon American companies, VC and the like, that have invested so much money in thinking prices for AI access will not drop. They're the low-cost producer, right? They're saying they're selling their steel like Japan did. They're selling their computer chips like Japan did in the 80s into us, dumping it, getting market share, okay? And they have to be pushed back on with tariffs. Now, we're not tariffing things that they care about, but we are tariffing things. It's a flex. I'm not sure. But we'll get to gold versus NVIDIA and silver versus NVIDIA because there is a relationship there next. Okay. Staying with, so those are the claims. A little bit all over the place today, but we're trying to get our footing going forward. All right, so news and analysis is MicroStrategy a Ponzi scheme? Pretty much. Goldfix PM, UBS updates. Stockman, America's fiscal doomsday machine must be stopped. Founders, we just put that out as DeepSeek doomsday for American OpenAI. That's our equity people. Goldman Trader, here you go. These two statements are correct, even though they seem contradictory. Is DeepSeek doomsday for American OpenAI? No, it's just going to get cheaper, right? Is DeepSeek bearish for NVIDIA? Yeah, it's bearish. You know, you can't sell your chips for $1 billion a chip anymore. They got to get cheaper because DeepSeek claims to be using less expensive chips. And then finally, Michael Every is doing some geopolitic work. Trump is very deadly serious about expanding U.S. square footage via Greenland and other things. He talks about DeepSeek, et cetera, as well. Premium, we have more on the NVIDIA aspect. Plus, we have the UBS report that we just shared with premium subscribers. Right. So let's take a look at gold. Right. I want to put gold on that chart. Give you a perspective. Right. We're not zooming out. Maybe we are zooming out. Okay, so where were we 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Oh, we were testing the 100-day moving average. China bought it. China bought it, and then it pulled away. It was the expression that I used. Well, here we are back down. We're nowhere near the 100-day moving average. We're fine. As to gold, we're fine. Gold sell-off yesterday I believe, was an all hands on deck alert by the government to the plunge protection team. It exists. It was created during the 1987 crash for a quick response to things like that. So, do they care that much about gold? No, they cared about NVIDIA. They cared about stocks. They needed to put a floor in so people could catch their breath, and then we could start our own propaganda saying everything is fine. But you want to make sure gold does not make new highs. If gold had made new all-time highs yesterday, while this was going on, we were trading 2,800 that night. We were there. We were like a bad data number away, and we could still be there. So if you're a technician, you're looking at a trend line, you're trading a trend line on a daily. If you're me, you're saying, I want to see how gold does as our stocks recover, right? That's the whole key right now. Dollar is strong. Gold is up today. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that gold actually predicted the dollar strength yesterday. How are stocks doing? Well, the word on the street, right, from trading desks is that there's nothing but selling in NVIDIA as the market rallies. No one's hitting bids, but they're selling above the market. I believe there's going to be a rotation for AI stocks out of one type into another type. So those that benefit from the high cost of chips versus those that benefit from the low cost of chips. Front ends will change as well. If you have a lesser expensive product that you can use to incorporate your own product into it, you're fine. Now, moving to silver. Now, I haven't done this analysis publicly before, but I do. Let's hide all that. Silver's below the 200-day moving average. You can't be bullish on silver relative to gold, which is why the gold silver ratio is where it is. Now, I want to add NVIDIA to this chart. So there's silver with NVIDIA added to it on a weekly chart. You need silver to make chips. Okay, how much? No one will tell you. You ever notice that? But sometime in 24, NVIDIA started to pull away right there from silver. Now, silver caught up on the second run, right? Silver, the slope of its increase caught up on the second run. But notice that silver has been sideways for a long time with a slight up incline since, call it, April of 24, May of 24, with some very nasty spikes. But NVIDIA has had a much higher incline until yesterday. What should we take away from this? Well, a lot of people have been looking at this like not a lot of people, but people that I follow, technicians have been saying, well, silver's undervalued relative to NVIDIA. Now, that's really not something I swear by, but I understand the rationale. And my comment to them has always been, well, then maybe NVIDIA is just overvalued, and silver is going to continue to be stomped on until they get gold to the price they want it to be, and then silver will really explode. Anyway, the point is, if you want to watch these two stocks, sorry, silver's not a stock, you get my point. Look at the sell-off in NVIDIA versus the sell-off in silver. That's a week. This is not much. So look at the sell-off in NVIDIA, and silver has a sell-off as well, but the gap is, the alligator's mouth is too wide. So if you wanted to put on a trade related to this concept, you would be short NVIDIA and long silver right now. And I'm not recommending it, but I am saying watch silver. If NVIDIA drops more and silver doesn't, that's a really, really good sign. And the reason I thought of this is because gold was down more than silver yesterday, as much, if not more than silver. So this didn't make sense. So I said, let's look at silver versus the stock market. And then I said, let's look at silver versus NVIDIA. And there you have it. I mean, they pretty much tracked each other until 2024, when the whole world decided that AI was the way to go. And NVIDIA left silver in the dust. I think they're going to meet again. Silver's up 5 cents now. All right, I'm Vince. Have a great day. Stay tuned.